Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Bradley. Today, I'm going to be doing a film review of The Green Knight. The Green Knight is the latest film from acclaimed filmmaker David Lowery, presented by Studio A24. It is based on the 14th century poem, Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. Also, if you see me looking down, I'm terrible at remembering things. This is just going to keep me on track. All right. I was very interested in seeing this movie because I'm a huge A24 fan. I know they kind of get shit for being a little, I guess, pretentious or like self-indulgent with how their style is, which is very man, I don't even know how to describe it. They've kind of got their own thing. I mean, if you've seen stuff like Hereditary, which is amazing, or something like Green Room. Even I know I'm kind of going towards the horror things with them, but they've all kind of got the same feel and look in a way, and just same design, just the way their movies look. It's almost like how you've got the MCU in a way, how it's all done by different writers and directors, but they all kind of like look the same in a way, and they all got the same kind of style. That's kind of what A24 does. But I personally am a big fan of almost all of their movies. You've got some I'm not a huge fan of, but I mean, for every, let's say, bling ring, sorry, not a fan of the bling ring, but for every bling ring, you've got like a Moonlight. And for every, oh man, what's another? Spring Breakers. Again, not a fan of that one. You've got something like Eighth Grade or mid '90s, Lady Bird. You know, they've kind of got their own prestige going on. I really think they are the upper echelon of independent filmmaking. So yeah, A24, you either love them or you hate them. You kind of just go through the motions, whether they're going to have a bad movie or a good movie. That's really all you can do with them. But continuing on to The Green Knight. The film stars Dev Patel as Sir Gawain, a yet-to-be knight who is challenged by the Green Knight to a game. Basically, Sir Gawain gets to deal a blow to the Green Knight, be it a large or small blow, to which the Green Knight will return the blow in exactly 1 year's time, and the exact type of blow he does. Without going into spoiler territory, which I'll cover at the back end of this, I'll put time codes. That way you can skip past that section if you would like to and just go straight to my overview, which will not be spoilers at all. So I already went over A24's reputation, so I'm going to move on to the acting in this. Actually, you know what? Before I get into that, this was a Arthurian tale. They're not really sure who it was written by. It was kind of put on as plays, I believe. I see. This is what I mean. I looked into it, didn't write it down, and it's already gone. But yeah, it's been adapted a few times before, I believe, at least once. But this is kind of this is a modern take in terms of it's obviously modern filmmaking, but it's got a modern vision, I feel. Whereas, from like the images I've seen of the original, it does seem very of its time in a way. So take that as you will. But I think it's a very interesting story and not one that is told enough. And I think this one in particular was deserving of this kind of treatment from David Lowery. I've never watched anything by David Lowery personally. He has also done a Ghost Story, another A24 film, which I have not seen, but I've always wanted to see. He also did Pete's Dragon for Disney, which was, I was a little shocked to learn that. I'm not sure how that one came about, but I was pleasantly surprised with his directing style. I guess I'm just going to go into the segue into the directing first. He's definitely got a very good vision of what he wants to do. He's got such grand set pieces for this, and the production design on it alone like leads to his style very well. He knows how to use the old school looking like castles, and just even when we're outside, there's imagery of like forests and whatnot, and what you think of from stuff like Lord of the Rings. You get the enchanted looking forest because this is a fantasy story after all, albeit a very subdued fantasy story. You are not going to get Lord of the Rings or anything like that in this. It's a very slow burn, not too exciting in terms of action. There's next to no action. It's just all story and the journey going on with Sir Gawain, Dev Patel in this, who I'm going to kind of be all over the place as I'm going with this. So who you don't get a whole lot of backstory on, from the opening minutes of the movie that he does want to be a knight. Somebody asks him, "Oh, are you a knight yet?" And he said, "Not yet." And somebody says, "Oh, you better hurry." And he says, "No, I've still got plenty of time." And he eventually offers himself up when the Green Knight shows up to play the game with him. So you know he's got some kind of aspirations to be a knight, but I feel like that's really all you get out of that anyway. Like I said, it doesn't go into too much detail about his character, at least not that I picked up. Maybe there were subtle little things. I was just so enamored by the look of the film because the look of it is so amazing. So I guess I guess we're just going to segue to cinematography. The cinematography in this is amazing. The film was shot by Andrew Draws Palermo. Sorry if I said your middle name wrong. But he films beautiful scenes, whether they're tight on somebody's face, but you've got a beautiful landscape in the background, or even just like the stone walls, to huge wide shots of valleys and the sky. And of course, you have to have there's a stylistic shot of it following Sir Gawain, and as it passes over him, of course, we get the flipping upside down, and we get to follow it for a little bit, which does mean something. I think when you watch this and you get to that point in the movie, I think you'll agree that it's literally a turning point. So yeah, he has also done. He's done You're Next, which is probably the only other movie of his I've seen. According to this, he's also done VHS, so I have seen VHS. So he definitely knows his way around the camera, that's for sure. And I think this is his crowning achievement so far. This film was shot on a budget of $15 million, and I think it was all from the set design, because the castles, the forests, the costumes, the effects. Like normally with stuff like A24 and there's going to be computer effects, they're kind of not the best because they are such a independent company and they don't do very big budgets. And so, but I think that's the thing is, if you're an actor or somebody, you kind of go into these movies knowing you're not going to get that hefty paycheck you've been wanting. It's all going towards production. And I think that's good. I mean, A24 is kind of a good starting point for some filmmakers. I mean, sadly, Bo Burnham's only done one movie for them, but I think he did it. If you guys have never seen Eighth Grade, you guys need to go watch Eighth Grade. Bo Burnham did a great job writing and directing that movie. But he's never done anything after that. So, I mean, that's not really a good example of that, is it? But there's plenty of people who have started off, or even, they just come to A24 because I'm assuming they probably allow a lot of creative freedom because they have such low budgets. And to me, it definitely does look like the budget went to the set design. Like I said, everybody's costumes, the little bit of computer graphics that are in it. There's a couple that don't look so good, but I mean, I can give it a pass because the rest of it does look amazing. Speaking of like the style and look of it, the Green Knight himself, picture kind of the trees from, again, Lord of the Rings, the Two Towers, the trees. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the names right now. Lord of the Rings fans, please don't come kill me. He kind of looks like that, and anytime he moves, does anything, it literally sounds like you're tearing a tree trunk apart, or you're tearing the branches from each other. It's, oh man, it's so woody, and there's lots of snapping and rustling. And speaking of rustling, the actor who played the voice of the Green Knight, Ralph Ineson, I think it's Ineson, but I could be wrong. Again, I'm sorry. I'm someone whose last name, it's hard for the people to pronounce. So I get where you're coming from. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing people's names. But I don't know if that's just his actual voice or if they add a little bit of gruffness to it. But man, it's such a deep, gravelly voice, and to steal from Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, it sounds like honey-coated gravel. I really love that saying. But he did a fantastic job as the voice and a little bit of the character that you actually see, because he's not in it a whole lot. It's not, I get the movie's called The Green Knight. It's not about the Green Knight per se. It's all about Dev Patel's character, going to seek out the Green Knight to have the blow returned. And he definitely goes off on a journey, again, without spoiling anything. It's like I said, not a exciting journey in terms of action heavy. It's just you follow him through all his ups and downs and missteps, and it's a really great journey to go on. But now I'll get into some minor spoilers. If you've seen the movie, hopefully you might have the same gripes I do. As I was saying, the journey, while it is very interesting, like I said, is kind of unexciting in places. It does seem to go a little too slow. I would have liked a little bit more to happen than what we actually got. I was very interested in his journey, but then there's some places where we just linger on that scene a little too long, and I'm fine with that in some places, but this one I just kind of wanted the journey to keep moving because this movie it's 2 hours and 10 minutes. I feel like if it was a flat 2 hours, maybe even like an hour 55, it would have helped the pace a little bit because there's definitely some slow patches in this. So pacing I had a little bit of an issue with. And then the end when we finally get to see the Green Knight return the blow, which, Dev Patel's character decides to have his blow be cutting off the Green Knight's head, to which the Green Knight just stands up, grabs his head in his 1 year's time and rides off with a scary laugh, just a chilling, just blood-curdling laugh on his way out of the town. I don't know why he thought that would be a good idea, but, alas, he's made his bed. Now he's got to get his head cut off. And then we do the whole, it was a dream kind of thing, because when he arrives at the Green Knight's tomb, whatever you want to call it, he goes to have the blow return, which is getting his head cut off, and he chickens out, runs away, goes back home. Eventually his uncle, who is king, dies eventually, and Dev Patel becomes the king. Eventually just becoming a reviled king. Eventually leading up to his son being killed in battle, which leads to a raid on his castle town, which results in his beheading. Anyway, so he was going to get beheaded regardless. But then, of course, we cut to, it was just a vision. That didn't really happen. So instead of chickening out, he bows his head and says, I'm ready. I am kind of okay with that if that vision wasn't drawn out so detailed. It was like the last at least 10 minutes of the movie. I think that could have been at least cut in half. I don't know, maybe made a little more clear that this was a vision and not, actually happening. Because it seems like a little bait and switch when they do stuff like that. I'm not always a fan of it. I am a fan of it sometimes. I don't think it worked so well in its favor here. But I'm sure people would tend to disagree. That's the whole thing of it. But yeah, for me, it wasn't my thing. Although I did like how he is basically a nobody. He's got no special skills. You don't really see him do a whole lot of sword fighting. He gets trapped very easy by people along the way, and he's just not good at what he does. But he's aspiring to be a knight, and it just. No, you get to the end of the movie and you realize, this is just not for him. This is not something that is going to be dealt in his favor at any time in his lifetime. So I do like the fact that he's just kind of all right, we'll just end this right here, and bows his head down, and there the Green Knight goes to raise, and we cut to credits. So all in all, in summation, I think it's very well directed. It's very well shot. It was very well written, minus some pacing issues, as I mentioned before. The sound design is amazing. The production design, I might have already said that, is amazing. Just everything about it is amazing. I just think my biggest thing probably was the pacing, and that the unexciting parts could have been beefed up just a little bit. I'm not really sure how exactly. Like I said, maybe just trimmed the fat a little bit, which this was a very lean movie at 2 hours and 10 minutes. There was some fat, I think, that could have been trimmed. But overall, I mean, it's a great experience. If you love fantasy and things like that, I think you'll absolutely dig this. Again, just don't go in expecting a heavy action movie, because there's next to none. It's very much a fantasy drama. That's really the only way to describe it. And it's not even necessarily fantasy, because there's not a whole lot of fantastical elements to this. There's some. You can't have an Arthurian tale being told without there being some kind of fantastical element to it. But yeah, these are pretty few and far between. But overall, I think I gave this a 3.5 on Letterboxd, which if you guys are not following me on Letterboxd, I'll put that right here, I guess, somewhere right here. Yeah, go ahead and go follow me there. I usually will rate a movie immediately after I watch it, so that way I don't forget to. I'm trying to make sure I log every movie I watched this year, even if it's one I've seen or I've rewatched multiple times this year. So yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts on this film. Let me know if you liked it, if you hated it, if you were just in the middle of the road about it. I really want to hear your thoughts. The next film I'm going to review, which I'm going to record probably right after this, is James Gunn's Suicide Squad. So be on the lookout for that in the next couple days. Might even be the day after this. Who knows? So guys, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you all. Please like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Follow me, Letterboxd, Instagram, all the places. You guys know what to do. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you in the next one.